All right, good evening. Today is Thursday, January 9th. This is a Finance Committee meeting of the Council Rock School District. I want to apologize that we are getting a late start. We were in an executive session that ran longer than we expected. My name is Tracy Osecki. I'll be chairing tonight. I'm going to start with board member introductions, starting to my left.
Jota Piley, School Board.
Ed Tate, School Board. Michael Roosevelt, School Board.
Anthony Rapp, Director of Business Administration.
Andy Shanko, Superintendent.
Nicole Khan, School Board.
Linda Stone, School Board.
Ann Horner, School Board.
Joe Hidalgo, School Board.
Bob Hickey, School Board.
Matthew McCarthy, Tech Integration.
Okay, and with that, I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Rapp, please.
Thank you, Mrs. Osecki. Before we begin the agenda, a reminder that for the most accurate and reliable information concerning our district, please refer to resources, websites, and social media platforms managed by the Council Rock School District. We advise the community to exercise caution when relying on the accuracy of social media and ask the community to verify any social media content with the district for accuracy. If you question what you are seeing, need a fact check, or additional details on a matter, please reach out to the district directly. Our contact information is readily available on our website at www.crsd.org. So to begin with the agenda for tonight, we have to discuss tax collector compensation, summer help rate of pay, an agreement with the Bucks County Intermediate Unit, the Act 1 index, the 2025 IRS mileage reimbursement rate, purchase of smart panels for elementary schools, and the purchase of replacement AEDs, which are the automatic defibrillators that we have throughout the schools. So the first item on the agenda is tax collector compensation. We discussed this last month, so we need to update the tax collector manual every 4 years prior to the primary election. So I'm asking you to vote on the manual, and we'll have a finalized version of that available for you to review for the meeting next week. Right now, their compensation for the tax collectors, and these are, we're looking at this is what you want to pay the elected officials. So this is not a personnel issue. We pay $3.75 per bill issued for real estate and interim real estate taxes, $1.50 per occupation assessment tax. We pay for the forms, the printing of forms and postage, as well as any other charges to obtain the Bucks County assessment data. And we do reimburse them 75 cents per interim real estate tax bill or additional occupation assessment tax after the original duplicate for postage and printing expenses. So if there's an additional bill, an interim bill, we do have a rate for that because it's harder to pay for, when there's a big accumulation of bills that they send out at once. That's easier to put those numbers together when it costs. So we use a rate for the smaller because they're not buying reams of paper, and so that's why there's a rate for the interim bills for reimbursement. I met with the tax collectors. We met. The business office met with the tax collectors. They're asking, the current tax collectors are asking for to request the real estate tax compensation increase to match real estate tax increase in each year. So if you increase taxes by 2%, they would get a 2% increase in their fees for real estate taxes. Just to give you an idea of the numbers for that, we calculated a 2% increase, what a 2% increase would cost in additional tax collector compensation, and 2% was chosen because that's usually where we kind of start discussing tax increases during the year. So 2% increase would equal approximately $34,567 over 4 years in additional compensation for all the tax collectors. So if we gave a 2% increase, that would, over the 4 years that this agreement would be in place, we would be offering, it would cost us $34,567. I'll remind you again that we are currently the 4th highest compensation among Bucks County School District, and we're currently in line with many other Bucks County school districts. They're also requesting an increase in occupation tax compensation of 50 cents per bill. That's a 33.33% increase because they're getting $1.50 now. That increase would equal approximately $65,264 over 4 years, or $16,316 per year. The final thing they're requesting is to increase the reimbursement rate for interim tax bills to $1 from 75 cents. This one, I would point out that 75 cents was back when postage was, under 40 cents, or now postage is in the 60-cent range, I guess. I don't mail stuff that often, but so a 25-cent increase would cover that, cover that increase in postage. And looking at the number of interim bills we sent out, that would result in an increase of about $13.75 per year. So again, in the manual that they did have that whole section on additional compensation. We are removing that because nobody was really using it. And we'd like to, again, to have the manual and compensation approved at next week's school board meeting. So I guess, if you want to direct me as to how.
So do you want to share your recommendation again?
I mean, I'm sharing with you right now what they're asking for. My original recommendation was to leave it the same because of where we stand in the county. I'm not, other than the 75 cents to $1, I'm not inclined to, I don't want to, this is an elected official position, so I don't want to say, but I don't want to, in the, I said that, where we stand, I think we're in a good position in the county.
Yeah, so I guess I'd like feedback, otherwise we'll move forward with, we'll agree to the third bullet, and then the first two we'll not agree with, unless there's feedback otherwise from the board. Right. Questions, comments?
I would agree to
Yeah.
not,
And I would also point out that we had the additional compensation and they did not take advantage of that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you have a question, Bob?
No, just that when we vote on it next week, it's just not going to be in, the only thing that's going to be in there then is that third bullet point.
Yes.
Correct.
So what you'll be voting on is the tax collector manual. And this will be included here. The only thing that will change from where it is currently is that third bullet point. We'll change that from 75 to $1.
Okay. Thanks.
So you're not really voting on the amounts, you're voting on the manual. Okay.
Actually, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Ms. Khan.
So since you met with the tax collectors, and this was their ask, if we say no to their ask, is there any other consequence from that, other than we just don't agree to it? Is that it?
I mean, you set the rate.
Okay.
This isn't a negotiation.
Right.
Often, they ask to be able to give their feedback, and they gave me their feedback, and I presented it to you. This is what, people run for these positions, and they need to know what the compensation would be. Some of our municipalities, we have municipalities, as I showed you last time, vary greatly in what they were paid, and that has to do with the number of tax bills that they send out. So some are more lucrative than others, but we.
Okay, so the answer is, we just rejected their offer other than that one.
Well, they don't. It's not like it's a negotiation where they don't have an expectation to have those positions next year. I mean, I'm not getting political, but they have to run for it.
Right.
So we have to tell them what they're going to get paid for running for it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if they don't want to.
It makes sense, and I just wanted to clarify it, as in, we're not making, it's an elected position, this is what the current manual That's the only change we're making, is the
The
placement.
position's open but I don't,
And what they were getting, and this is, so we'll know going in what it's going to be.
And the tax collector position will be open in all municipalities?
yes, it's open, it's open
Yes.
in all municipalities every 4 years.
Thank you.
And did you have a comment? I couldn't hear you down here.
No, just saying that, so they'll know, those elected officials know what they're going into.
Right.
That's why we do it now, so that they know what
Right.
they're going into, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they
we're
can
required by
continue.
law
I understand that. I-
Okay.
to have this available to anyone that wants to run, so they can look at what they want to get paid. Next item is a summer help rate of pay. So we have a rate of pay for our summer help that's been set by the board at $10 per hour. We've posted jobs the last 2 years for summer help. We've not received any applications. We usually, we're looking at, the number of positions vary. We usually hire less than 5 positions each summer depending upon need. They do things like painting, assisting with grounds care. They're not gonna drive the big, they'll drive, a small zero-turn mower, but not the big wing mowers, and some light maintenance work in the buildings. We asked other Bucks County school entities what they were paid, and these are not just districts, there are some, technical schools that are in. So, but I don't want to say what they are, but entity A said they pay their summer help $14 to $16 per hour. Entity B is $16 per hour, and the highest that we got was entity C, which was $18.50 per hour. And also just looking in here, if someone wanted to go apply at McDonald's right now, they're starting at $17 an hour. So we're recommending that we raise our summer rate to $17.25 per hour. This is gonna make us more competitive in Bucks County without being the highest, and also put us above like working at McDonald's. There's obviously benefits to both jobs, but we're hoping that attracts more people who are interested, students and high school students who might be looking for summer work, get some more, some more interest in applying for these jobs. They really do help us out a lot in the summer, and not having them has been a detriment to the district. So we're looking to increase that.
Linda?
So again, it's usually a 10-week assignment.
Yeah,
And they must be at least 16
Yeah.
years of age.
Okay, so if anybody listening wants to apply.
Yeah,
All right, any other questions before we move on?
I just
Yeah.
want a clarification. Did you indicate that, Tony, did you indicate that we're typically hiring about 5 a year? Is that what that says?
less than 5.
Less than 5?
Yeah.
So we're not talking about a lot of people.
No,
And we're also not talking about current Council Rock employees.
no.
But well, we talked in the
Well, a
pre-meeting that
teacher could apply.
a para or
Yeah.
a teacher could apply for summer.
Yeah.
It could be, right.
The teacher, I mean, we probably have enough work, we can hire a lot more, but, we're just, we're painting schools and helping cut the grass, so.
Ms. Khan?
Just, where does this come out of the budget? Is this part of the summer CIP, or since it's a summer?
No, this is part of it's what we would call, it's budgeted in the maintenance department, or in the facilities department, I apologize. It's budgeted in the facilities department under, it would be like an other salary and benefits category. So we would have a budget for it.
Well, if this goes well, then next year ask for more than 5 people and we'll work on that. Okay.
Thank you. Agreement with the Bucks County Intermediate Unit. Now, this is for consultation services in order to help the district select a qualified and experienced director of special services. I know that we've already begun this process with the IU. If you recall, our December meeting was on December 5th. The agreement wasn't ready by then. So this is the first time that we're actually able to bring you the agreement, even though we've already been meeting with them. So we apologize for that, but the timing with the meeting being on December 5th has necessitated this go into now. It's being provided, it's something that they provide regularly and routinely to other districts, in the county. And the only thing we have to pay for is out-of-pocket costs. They're estimating that to be around $3,000, but it won't exceed $5,000. And when you talk about out-of-pocket costs, we're mostly talking about advertising for the position. And there, there are some fees associated with different organizations where we've advertised this position. So
Questions,
just
comments?
asking if
Okay, thank you.
The Act One Index, this is our annual request. The Act One Index was set in established in 2006. It sets a maximum tax increase for school districts in Pennsylvania. It's based on the prior year's increase in the statewide average weekly wage, the increase in employment cost index for elementary and second schools, and the district's local wealth. There's like the first two things form like the base for every school district, and then there's a modifier that school districts get depending on their wealth. We don't qualify for any extra increase. So we have to adopt a resolution that we're going to remain under the Act One Index with our budget, this budget for 26, or issue a preliminary budget. You'd have to, in order to exceed the Act One Index, so you would have to have either a voter referendum or an exception. And there's a couple of exceptions that are carved into the law, but they're not really worth very much there's not a whole lot that the district would gain by those exceptions. Just a couple $100,000, and that means we would have to have the budget ready by the end of this month. So the Act One Index for 25-26 is 4%. So we're saying we would not increase taxes more than 4%.
Everybody in agreement? There's no interest in going over the Act One Index. Good.
The 2025 IRS mileage reimbursement rate, this is a housekeeping thing. The rate changed to 70 cents per mile up from 67 cents, effective January 1st, 2025. Board policy says that we use the federal reimbursement rate. It's a 3 cents per mile increase from 2024. So this is, asking for your approval on that.
Okay, questions, comments? Okay.
Purchase of smart panels for the elementary schools. So we would like to, and this is in the budget, but it's a large purchase, so we're bringing it to the board. There's 167 smart panels we'd like to purchase for the elementary schools. And that means this would put a smart panel in every classroom in the elementary school. So all elementary schools would now be able to use the smart panel. It would eliminate the projectors in the rooms. I think this is, good for, this is a good thing for students throughout the districts in the elementary schools. The total cost, including installation, is $586,553.45. And we're looking, we want to keep it consistent, so we're using the same panels that we use throughout the district already to complete all the elementary schools. And again, this is part of the 24-25 budget.
Mr. Tate?
And Mr. Rapp, these are the smart panels that have been installed in the most recent renovations,
Yes.
such as
Yes,
Wrights.
they're the same ones that you would walk into Richboro right now and see.
Right, so a good number of schools already have them.
Yes, yeah, there's 167 of them. There's like Richboro doesn't have any. I think Solfaing's going to be like 2. So there's, but it does make sure that we get a smart panel in every classroom. Great.
I just want to clarify, when you said that Richboro doesn't have any, you mean in the 167
We're not
that
purchasing any
we're
for
ordering, they
Richboro,
already
because
have
we
it all? Just for the
make sure.
public to be clear about. Mr. Roosevelt?
I seem to remember, and other colleagues that have been around for a couple of years help me out here if I'm correct or not, but I seem to remember a lot of initiatives to put in smart panels over the past couple of years. Maybe it wasn't all, but maybe Andy can help me out.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Have you looked at this before?
So with the new renovations, the smart panels are going in. They're replacing the old Prometheum boards, and so it's built into the new project costs, like Richboro Elementary, Solfaing Stone. The life expectancy on the Prometheum boards and the smart boards, particularly in our high schools, they started dying all at the same time. So about 2 years ago, we used $336,000, roughly $350,000 to backfill the Prometheum boards and smart boards in the high schools and some of the elementary schools. This rounds us out to have all new and consistent smart panels in all the schools.
Thank you.
Ms. Khan?
Just for clarification, so then the purchase of these additional 167 smart panels would now make it consistent across the board that within the last 2 to 3 years, now everyone will have kind of the same life?
In elementary school, yeah.
Okay, so will that mean that, in elementary schools? Okay. Thank you.
So what do we use in the other schools, like secondary? We don't use smart panels?
I'm sorry?
Do we use the smart panels in middle and high schools?
We have them in the middle and high schools too. If you remember, when we were doing the middle schools, the district purchased short throw projectors, and it didn't match up with the curriculum, particularly the software for the math curriculum, and we went to the smart panels. So when you walk through the middle schools, you'll see the same thing. The only one I can't say with certainty are the 2 high schools. But we have replaced considerable amount of smart boards and Prometheum boards at the high schools. I just don't know if that's a completed project or not, but I can get you that answer.
And when will the installation be completed?
Tony, do you know the life expectancy?
No, when it's gonna be done, so they're all replaced?
When it's gonna be done?
I believe it should be done by the end of this school year.
Oh, so it's quick.
Yes. That's why we're purchasing them now. Obviously, we're not gonna disrupt the school day, but, and they're not completed in the high schools yet. But that's, push that. Look at, I think that's a curriculum and whether, for the high school, but I'm sorry.
Mr. Hickey, did you have a question?
I did. It's Andy's question, actually. What is the life expectancy of these boards?
That's something we'll have to get you an answer on.
I'm just saying.
I don't want to give a number.
Because now they're all throughout the district, so how many are there total? And then at some point when we don't want to find out, say 5 years from now, that now we have to replace 1,000 of these things without having it being budgeted for, so maybe we should.
So if you pull back a little bit and look at it, one of the things we've been working on is a 5-year technology plan, because that is, as Tony said, this is $500,000, almost $600,000 that has been budgeted for. And looking at our curriculum renewal process, that you all have seen some when Tammy has presented at Education Committee and Nicole and Al, we're also building a 5-year technology plan, so the district isn't faced with a big lump sum of money that all these things reach their end of their useful life at the same time.
Mr. Hidalgo, did you have a question?
No, just it's already budgeted for, so this is good.
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
Matt, you don't know the life expectancy, do you?
I do not. I can say that the middle schools where we moved in 7 years ago, and then Wrightstown was finishing that project. So, and Wrightstown, the short throw projectors were originally purchased for that, but after our experience in the first couple months of the middle school project, or after the middle schools were open, we contacted IT and facilities at the time and said, we don't think the short throw projectors are the way to go for the elementary schools. They just weren't working out well in the middle schools. So that's when the determination for these new smart panels came about. So Wrightstown has been swimming with them for the last 6 years and no issues yet. They're still on update cycles, they still work perfectly.
So at least 6 years,
At least 6
hopefully.
years.
Okay, good.
Give them 10.
I think it's a valid point to make sure that they're budgeted for though, and,
They're rated for 50,000 hours of life.
okay, get your calculator out.
Well, so
I got it.
So 180 school days at 7 hours per day is 1,260.
Divided by,
Divided into.
yeah.
Yes, so. $39, yeah, okay,
39.
Oh, wow.
What? 39 years.
30, no.
How many hours?
All right, let's
Yeah,
not do this in a public meeting. We'll do some
We'll
math.
get you the-
Next.
Okay. See what, do they have any kind of warranty? Maybe would be a better way to look at
They
this.
do have warranties,
warranties.
but like the life expectancy, I would want to get the right information to
Okay,
talk about that.
all right. Thanks, Mr. Rapp.
Purchase of replacement AEDs. So currently, there are 26 AEDs throughout the district. We also would like to purchase 2 additional AEDs, one for the Chancellor Center and one for the Sale House. All of these AEDs are nearing the end of their recommended useful lives. We received 3 quotes. You can see the lowest quote was Coro Medical for $47,871.76. That's the lowest cost, and we're recommending that we go with that vendor. And that includes a trade-in of some of our current panels that qualify for trade-in of $5,200. We are putting together, it's similar to what what Dr. Sanko said about.
Really works fine.
What Dr. Sanko said about the technology is, we're looking at putting together a more of a phased replacement in the future so that we're not replacing 26 at the same time, where we can maybe start looking at the end of, maybe looking at the end of the life of some of these and doing it in a more phased manner in the future.
Outside of the numbers, I think it's important to know that we're required to have an AED within 3 minutes of all the large group areas. And when we went and did a review of places, well, we reviewed every place, but like the Chancellor Center, we currently have one. We want to add one here. The Sale House, we have students in and out of the Sale House. Goodnow has the AEDs, they're within 3 minutes, but we feel more comfortable having a unit, a standalone unit at the Sale House as well.
Every minute matters. Okay, terrific.
It's already come into play.
Mr. Roosevelt.
Quick question, is this budgeted currently, or is this?
This was not budgeted, but this would come from the budgetary reserve fund.
Questions, comments from my colleagues? No? Okay.
So that's it for the agenda items. Upcoming agenda items, audit results. I spoke to the auditor today. Hopefully we'll be getting something soon. The bus driver GPS, I was hoping to have something for you this month, but we ran into some, not problems with the system, but problems with being able to deliver that. But we'll have more of it in place next month, and hopefully we'll report on to you, and as drivers are using it, how that's working and what exactly the system does. And our new financial reporting system, we finished the education that we were getting on this week, so I'm working on a nice report for you for next month on where we stand just in time for getting ready for the budget.
Looking forward to it. Any other questions or comments from the board? Mr. Hickey?
I have one. We spent last week talking about facilities and all the things that we may or may not want to do. And it obviously goes hand in hand with the finances of the district.
Yes, sir.
Is there any possible way, maybe not the finance part, but for the facilities meeting, of how comfortable or what the figure we are comfortable with as a district of borrowing to get some of our things, to get some of the things that we want accomplished, so we have an understanding of wants and needs? I mean, just to throw it out there, these numbers are not, they're strictly fictitious. We want to renovate Council Rock North, then it's going to cost $100 million. But our finances say we really can safely only borrow $50 million or safely borrow $200 million or whatever. So as we go through this, since they're interrelated, is there any way that we could get like a figure that the district is comfortable with as far as borrowing is concerned without having to go to a referendum or raising taxes up to the Act 1 index or something like that? I don't know how big of an ask that I'm asking here.
It's something that we are working on, and contacting PFM to put together, what the cost of debt is. Obviously, it depends on how we structure it as well, and the debt that comes off the books. So the plan is to have that information available at the, some of that information available. So obviously nothing is ever going to be set in stone as far as what we can do, but at least a ballpark, some ballpark number on that.
Do we have an idea when we'll have that?
At the
next facilities meeting?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Barring any problems.
I think that's really valuable. Thank you. Other questions, comments? Mr. Roosevelt?
As long as we're talking about upcoming agenda and will it include it or will it not include it, the bus driver GPS, I think it's no secret that there's issues with that. Do we expect this bus driver GPS to come online, which should help significantly with both notification to parents about late buses and cancellations of buses? Are we expecting this to come online and resolve those, or?
No, that's not. I would say that it has no cancellations today, which is good. But no, this is more for it helps in those situations where if a driver calls out and we put a substitute driver in, it's going to be much easier for that substitute driver to fill in that route with this GPS. So it does help in that manner. It doesn't, I can't promise whether, but it does help us to know when, where it helps the bus drivers run their routes more efficiently.
Con?
Thank you, Mr. Checkey, for bringing up that facilities matter and a master plan. I think that's relevant, and I look forward to hearing that from Mr. Rapp and for Mr. Roosevelt for bringing. I actually was going to just bring up the whole. I know internally the board members get emails and notifications about recognizing as a district there is an issue with a bus driver called out. Literally since we came back from winter break, I for one have experienced it, and no parent, working or not, wants to get a 1 p.m. email saying there's no bus for your child, which I got. And, I know there's other parents that aren't necessarily going to go and email the board or let everyone know, but I just, for the public's notification that it's something that the administration I know is actively working on and have met with and continue to meet with. So this is something that isn't happening, especially as a parent. You figure the drivers were off for the last 10 days. How do we come back from school for 2 days and all of a sudden you don't have a bus or a bus driver? So just that the administration is actively working on this.
And we are.
Yes, yep.
So,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I will just say, for the public, and I know the board knows this, we've already met with Durham. After our first experience, I guess it was a Thursday, we came back from break, and we have a meeting scheduled, administrators, we have a meeting scheduled with the senior management of Durham on Wednesday of the upcoming week. And, this company has been good to work with, and last year or 2 years ago, they actually brought drivers in when they had people sick, and we're gonna make that same request at this point again, because we have dealt with parents that received a notification at 6:30 a.m. and the bus was supposed to arrive at 6:38 a.m. So we know, and we're apologetic to our families that happened, And so we will continue to work with Durham for a solution.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, public comment?
I just, Terry Tyler, Newtown Borough. I had a question when you were talking about the summer program, and I agree, you definitely should increase your rate. Are they promised a certain number of hours, and is it full or part-time? No one mentioned whether it was full or part-time.
Mr. Rapp, I don't know.
I mean, if you're gonna advertise the job, you're usually gonna say whether it's
Is it full-time or part-time? I'll answer it. It's a part-time? It's part-time.
But do you know how many hours?
32, up to 32 usually, right?
It depends.
It depends. Okay.
I'm just wondering if that might be for someone who worked every summer, every year, after I turned 16. I was looking for 40 hours a week. So maybe less students, more hours, or maybe survey the people who are applying, just a suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, hi, I'm Lisa Halton of Brookfield Township, so I have a few comments to make. For the tax collector, and I'm supportive of what you're recommending there, but a comment to the tax collector is what is it they're going to do to be more effective and efficient and being able to be profitable versus just because we're going up with a tax rate they expect to go up to. So I would ask them if they need to look at ways to be more efficient. Regarding technology investments, there's the installation cost, but there's also ongoing support costs and maintenance. So what is that going to look like, and what is the impact to the IT organization? And I don't know how this works, so I've never done this before, so I'm just, I don't know if you guys take notes and you talk about it now or not, but the installation and the ongoing maintenance costs and their impact to the maintenance cost line.
We generally don't answer questions as,
Okay, so I'll just make comments, okay. And then the other piece of the technology is the adoption of that, being effectively adopting it for the teachers, so they effectively use this technology, and their students also benefit from this technology. And then there's some other benefits that these smart panels do that can have even more profound impact for the education and increasing scores. So highlighting all these great benefits that can happen from this technology would be helpful to look at. So that's for the technology of the smart boards. Regarding the 5-year tech plan, I think that's great. We need to understand, how are you picking out your suppliers, what technology is in line with the current tech trends that's happening in the industry, and making sure the schools are using this technology for the students who didn't have access to it when they're going to trade schools or to colleges. But that whole pipeline, understanding that would be good as you do your 5-year tech plan. I think that's it for now. So I did see that the smart panels cost $587K, but there wasn't mention of the maintenance and ongoing operating costs and impact for that. So something to look at.
Thank you. Other comments? Okay, all right, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Good meeting.